I recently purchased a new lens for my Sony ZV E10, and this video I want to talk about what that lens is that I purchased and why I think you should purchase a cheap prime lens for your camera as well. This is the 23mm f1.4 from Viltrox. Now this cost me about $300 or said and done. And I'm gonna be honest, is this the best lens on the market? No. Is this certain lens out there? Yes. And there is a reason why I purchased this one over a different brand or model. And that's basically because they were all sold out. All the latest versions of these lenses are a fantastic bang for buck and so much more impressive than this, that obviously they're all sold out. I needed a lens with an f-stop 1.4. This was the option that I got. And do I regret it? Not at all. So right now what you're seeing is the kit lens from the Sony ZV E10. It is set at 16 millimeters, an ISO of 200, and an f-stop of 3.5 because that's the lowest that will go. So looking behind me, you're still going to see everything pretty clearly. And I'm not really separated from the background. And I do have to have that ISO up a little bit higher because, well, that f-stop is not as low as this goes. The other fantastic thing with a 16 millimeter is the camera is really just that far away from me. So I'm going to switch this lens over right now and you can start to see the difference. So a couple of things you may realize straight away is, well, I'm no longer completely in the image. Realistically, I need to be back here. So I'm going to reset my camera to a appropriate length and then we're going to talk about it. So just like the kit lens, this is a autofocus. Is the autofocus fantastic and completely silent? No, but it does a good job, especially when I'm in a studio setting. Now, as you may see, I'm a lot more overexposed right now, and I am at ISO 100, f-stop 1.4, and well, I'm at that 23 millimeter length now. So my next option here is to actually turn my lights down. Now, as you can see with my lights turned down, it's exposed much better. You can't see the separation between the background and me, and that's all because of that f-stop 1.4. Something I have realized with this when I am on a low f-stop like this, I need to be very careful because if I move back, I'm going to go out of focus very quickly. So I need to make sure that I'm in the same line as anything like my microphone or anything that I may be holding up. Now, I want to talk about why I purchased this lens and why I think you should purchase a lens just like this. Like I said, this cost me about $300 or said and done. I actually purchased it because I had a job where they requested a f-stop 1.4 to f-stop 2. All I had was the kit lens, which only goes down to 3.5. They really wanted that separation, that blur. So I had to buy the bullet and buy a lens. Now, unfortunately, a lot of the new lenses that are out at the moment are completely sold out. And it's purely because the quality in these aftermarket third-party brand lenses are improving so much for the money that it costs that it almost makes sense just to buy one of these rather than buying the big brands like Sony or Sigma, because unless you're on a high-end expert level, you're probably not going to see much of a difference. Now, yes, of course, there's a lot of faults with these lenses, but for the money that it costs and the improvement that you get in your image, can you really complain? But I think the ultimate thing that I've gained from purchasing a cheap prime lens is it's actually made me learn my camera. Something like a kit lens is pretty much designed to have on your camera and just put on auto settings and just shoot. You're not really stylizing your video in the way that you've envisioned. I can definitely have this on auto and, just point and shoot. I'm not going to have complete control over things like the way I like to expose the image or how much separation I want behind me to here. It's actually taught me the difference between 1.4 and 2 when it comes to the f-stop, which you really won't think is that much, but it can create such a difference in your image. It's made me actually learn the difference of exposure in a studio setting to outside in the sunlight, where I completely struggle. I've then had to introduce stuff like changing my shutter speed. And that's why I think if you own a camera like the Sony ZV E10, a base level camera, you should purchase a different lens than the kit lens. So this is a 23mm, which is equivalent to about a 35mm on a full frame. This is my image, and I have to manually move my camera around to fit that image. But what it also means is I'm getting a slightly different perspective. Now, once you start going down the rabbit hole of cheap lens videos, and there is a bunch on YouTube, some really great creators, you start finding out that there's all different types of lenses that aren't good, but have these little characteristics that will allow you to just change up your style and add different little effects, intentionally or not, who knows, but just let you add your own personality to your videos. And ultimately, that's what we should be doing as creators. Even in a studio space, it's all good for me to go a very generic color on the wall and a very generic paneling that most YouTubers have. But over time, I'll adapt my own certain style, and hopefully, I will still look a little bit different to, well, how other creators are on this platform. Hopefully, this just gave you an example of how the Viltrox 23mm f-stop 1.4 looks. Again, right now I've got shutter speed of 1 over 60, f 1.4, ISO of 100. Love to know what type of lenses you guys are using on your cameras. And if you think you need to be spending those big bucks to get the best images, or if these days you can actually get these budget prime lenses. Of course, subscribe and like, and I'll see you guys next week.